The mountain gazelle, Israel's graceful national symbol. In the rolling hills and rugged landscapes of the Middle East, a creature of extraordinary grace and resilience has captured the hearts of an entire nation. The mountain gazelle, known scientifically as Gazella, stands as Israel's officially recognized national animal, a symbol that embodies the spirit of survival, beauty, and deep connection to the land that defines this remarkable region. With their liquid brown eyes, elegant curved horns, and ability to bound across rocky terrain with seemingly effortless grace, mountain gazelles represent far more than just another wildlife species. They are living embodiments of adaptation, resilience, and the delicate balance between nature and human civilization in one of the world's most historically and ecologically significant regions. A portrait of elegance, physical characteristics. The mountain gazelle is a study in natural perfection, combining athletic prowess with aesthetic beauty in ways that have inspired poets, artists, and wildlife enthusiasts for millennia. These medium-sized antelopes typically stand between 60 to 80 centimeters at the shoulder, with their slender builds perfectly adapted for their challenging mountainous habitat. Adult mountain gazelles usually weigh between 17 to 29 kilograms, with males generally larger and more robust than females. Their coat displays a beautiful gradation of colors, a rich golden brown or sandy buff on the upper parts that gradually transitions to pure white on the belly and inner legs. This coloration serves as perfect camouflage against the sun-bleached rocks and golden grasses of their Mediterranean habitat. Perhaps their most distinctive feature is their horns, which differ dramatically between sexes. Males boast impressive lyre-shaped horns that can grow up to 30 centimeters long, curved gracefully backward with pronounced ridges that spiral along their length. These horns serve both as weapons in territorial disputes and as impressive displays during mating rituals. Females, in contrast, have much smaller, straighter horns that rarely exceed 15 centimeters, though some females may lack horns entirely. Their large, dark eyes are perhaps their most captivating feature, providing excellent vision that allows them to spot predators from great distances. These eyes have inspired countless references in Middle Eastern poetry and literature, often symbolizing beauty, alertness, and wisdom. Their ears are also notably large and mobile, constantly rotating to catch the slightest sounds that might indicate danger or the presence of other gazelles. The mountain gazelle's legs are perhaps their greatest asset, built for explosive speed and incredible agility across treacherous terrain. Their hooves are narrow and hard, perfectly designed for gripping rocky surfaces and providing the traction needed for their spectacular leaping abilities. When threatened, these gazelles can reach speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour and perform breathtaking bounds that can clear obstacles over 2 meters high. Home among the hills, natural habitat, and geographic distribution. The mountain gazelle's domain encompasses some of the most diverse and challenging landscapes in the Middle East. These remarkable animals have adapted to thrive in Mediterranean woodland, scrubland, grassland, and even semi-desert environments, demonstrating an impressive flexibility that has been key to their survival through changing climatic conditions over thousands of years. Their preferred habitat consists of hilly and mountainous terrain with scattered trees and shrubs, particularly areas dominated by oak, pine, and Mediterranean maquis vegetation. These environments provide the perfect combination of open spaces for grazing and detecting predators, along with sufficient cover for escape and shelter. The gazelles show a particular preference for areas where rocky outcrops provide vantage points for surveillance and escape routes when danger approaches. Historically, mountain gazelles roamed across a much broader range, extending throughout the Levant region, including modern-day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, southern Turkey, and parts of Jordan. Archaeological evidence suggests these animals were once abundant throughout the eastern Mediterranean basin, with fossil remains and ancient artwork documenting their presence across the region for thousands of years. Today, their range has been significantly reduced due to human development, habitat fragmentation, and hunting pressure. The largest remaining populations are found in Israel, where conservation efforts have helped stabilize their numbers, and in smaller, isolated populations scattered across their former range. In Israel, they inhabit areas from the Mediterranean coastal plain through the central mountains to the edge of the Judean desert, adapting to altitudes ranging from sea level to over 1,000 meters above sea level. The gazelles demonstrate remarkable seasonal mobility, moving between different elevations and habitat types as food availability and weather conditions change. during hot summer months. They often seek higher elevations where temperatures are more moderate and water sources more reliable. In winter, they may descend to lower elevations where vegetation remains more accessible despite occasional snow or frost. Masters of efficient dining, diet, and feeding behavior. The mountain gazelle's approach to nutrition reflects the sophisticated adaptations of a species that has evolved in an environment where food resources can be unpredictable and seasonal. These animals are browsers and grazers, displaying remarkable flexibility in their feeding strategies that allows them to extract maximum nutrition from their challenging environment. Their diet consists primarily of grasses, herbs, shrubs, and tree leaves, with their food preferences changing dramatically with the seasons. During spring, when the Mediterranean landscape explodes with new growth, gazelles feast on tender young grasses and a variety of flowering plants. This is their time of abundance, when pregnant females can access the high-quality nutrition needed for healthy fawn development. As summer progresses and vegetation begins to dry out, mountain gazelles demonstrate their browsing expertise, turning to shrubs, small trees, and drought-resistant plants. They show a particular fondness for aromatic Mediterranean herbs like thyme, sage, and rosemary, which not only provide nutrition, but may also offer natural medicinal benefits. Their ability to digest tough, fibrous plant material is enhanced by their complex multi-chambered stomach system, typical of ruminants. One of their most remarkable adaptations is their reduced dependence on water. Mountain gazelles can survive for extended periods without drinking, obtaining most of their water needs from the plants they consume and through metabolic processes. This adaptation has been crucial to their survival in increasingly arid conditions and allows them to inhabit areas where water sources are scarce or seasonal. Their feeding behavior is highly strategic, with most grazing activity occurring during the cooler hours of dawn and dusk. During the heat of the day, they seek shade and rest, conserving energy and reducing water loss. This crepuscular pattern also helps them avoid many predators that are most active during midday hours. Mountain gazelles are known to travel considerable distances in search of food, with daily movements of several kilometers being common. Their excellent memory allows them to return to productive feeding areas and to remember the locations of seasonal food sources, water points, and safe resting places across their territory. The circle of life, reproduction, and life cycle. The reproductive cycle of the mountain gazelle is precisely timed to maximize the survival chances of offspring in their challenging environment. Mating season typically occurs in autumn, usually between October and December, ensuring that births coincide with the spring flush of new vegetation, when food resources are most abundant. During rutting season, the normally peaceful social structure of gazelle herds transforms dramatically. Adult males become intensely territorial, establishing and defending areas that they hope will attract females. These territories are marked with scent glands located near their eyes and between their hooves, creating invisible boundaries that other males recognize and respect. Male competition during this period can be spectacular, with rival bucks engaging in ritualized displays that showcase their fitness and determination. These contests begin with posturing and parallel walking, where males display their impressive horns and muscular builds. If intimidation fails to resolve the dispute, physical combat may ensue, with males locking horns and pushing against each other in tests of strength and endurance. Successful males may mate with multiple females, though the gazelle mating system is not strictly hierarchical. Females exercise considerable choice in selecting partners, often preferring males that control high-quality territories with good food resources and escape routes. After a gestation period of approximately 6 months, females give birth to 1 or occasionally 2 fawns, usually in late spring or early summer. Birth typically occurs in secluded areas with good cover, such as dense vegetation or rocky crevices that provide protection from predators and harsh weather. Newborn gazelle fawns are remarkably well-developed, able to stand and walk within hours of birth. However, they remain hidden for their first few weeks of life, with mothers visiting them several times daily for nursing while spending most of their time away from the birth site to avoid attracting predators. This hider strategy is common among antelopes and proves highly effective in environments where predation pressure is intense. Young gazelles grow rapidly, reaching adult size within their first year. Females typically reach sexual maturity at around 18 months, while males may not successfully reproduce until they are 2 or 3 years old and capable of competing effectively for territories and mates. Living together, social behavior, and group dynamics. Mountain gazelles exhibit a fascinating and flexible social structure that adapts to changing seasons, environmental conditions, and population pressures. Understanding their social behavior provides insight into the complex ways these animals have evolved to survive in their challenging Mediterranean habitat. During much of the year, mountain gazelles live in small herds typically consisting of 3 to 8 individuals, though group sizes can vary considerably based on food availability and habitat quality. These groups are generally composed of females and their offspring, with adult males often living separately or in loose bachelor groups outside the breeding season. The social hierarchy within female groups is generally subtle, based more on age and experience than on aggressive dominance. Older, more experienced females often lead the group's movements and serve as early warning systems for approaching danger. Their knowledge of feeding areas, water sources, and escape routes proves invaluable for group survival. Communication among mountain gazelles involves a complex array of visual, auditory, and chemical signals. Their large, expressive ears can convey different emotional states and levels of alertness through subtle position changes. Tail movements also serve as important visual signals, with rapid tail flicking indicating alarm or agitation. Vocalization plays a crucial role in gazelle communication, particularly between mothers and fawns. Young gazelles produce distinctive bleating calls that help maintain contact with their mothers, while adults use a variety of snorts, grunts, and alarm calls to coordinate group activities and warn of danger. One of the most remarkable aspects of mountain gazelle social behavior is their collective anti-predator strategy. When one individual spots danger, their alert posture and alarm calls quickly spread throughout the group. This early warning system, combined with their incredible speed and agility, forms the foundation of their survival strategy in landscapes where predators like wolves, leopards, and golden eagles pose constant threats. Seasonal aggregations can create much larger temporary gatherings, particularly during abundant food periods or when environmental conditions force gazelles to concentrate around limited resources like water sources during drought periods. These larger groups may contain dozens of individuals and provide opportunities for social learning and genetic exchange between different family groups. Ecological engineers' role in the ecosystem. The mountain gazelle's importance extends far beyond their symbolic value, as these animals play crucial ecological roles that help maintain the health and balance of Mediterranean ecosystems. Their presence creates ripple effects throughout their habitat that benefit numerous other species and contribute to overall biodiversity. As herbivores, mountain gazelles serve as important agents of vegetation management, their selective browsing and grazing helping to maintain the complex mosaic of plant communities that characterize Mediterranean landscapes. Their feeding preferences help prevent any single plant species from becoming too dominant, promoting the diversity of flowering plants, grasses, and shrubs that support countless other wildlife species. Their grazing activities also play a vital role in nutrient cycling, as they transport nutrients from areas of high plant productivity to their resting and watering sites through their droppings. This natural fertilization process helps maintain soil fertility and supports plant growth in areas that might otherwise be nutrient poor. The network of trails created by mountain gazelles as they move between feeding, watering, and resting areas becomes part of the landscape infrastructure used by many other species. Small mammals, birds, and even invertebrates often use these established pathways, making gazelles inadvertent landscape architects that facilitate movement and habitat connectivity for the broader wildlife community. As prey animals, mountain gazelles form a crucial link in the food web, supporting populations of large predators that once roamed throughout the Mediterranean region. While many of these predator species have been eliminated from much of their former range, the maintenance of healthy gazelle populations remains important for ecosystem completeness and can support predator reintroduction efforts in the future. Their role as seed dispersers should not be underestimated. As they move across the landscape, gazelles inadvertently transport seeds in their fur and digestive systems, helping to maintain genetic connectivity between plant populations and facilitating the natural regeneration of degraded habitats. Between worlds, interactions with humans. The relationship between mountain gazelles and human populations represents one of the most complex and evolving conservation challenges in the modern Middle East. This relationship, spanning millennia, encompasses everything from ancient reverence and coexistence to modern conflicts and conservation efforts. Historically, mountain gazelles were an important game species throughout their range, providing meat, hides, and horns for various uses. Archaeological evidence from sites across the Levant shows that these animals were hunted by humans for thousands of years, with their remains frequently found in ancient settlements. However, traditional hunting practices were generally sustainable, as human populations were smaller and hunting technology was limited. The situation changed dramatically during the 20th century. As human populations exploded, modern weapons became available and habitat destruction accelerated. Unregulated hunting, combined with habitat loss due to agricultural expansion, urban development, and military activities, led to severe population declines across most of the gazelle's range. In modern Israel, mountain gazelles face numerous challenges related to human activities. Vehicle strikes on roads that fragment their habitat represent one of the most significant immediate threats, with dozens of gazelles killed annually in traffic accidents. Urban expansion continues to reduce and fragment available habitat, forcing gazelles into smaller, isolated patches that may not be capable of supporting viable populations long-term. However, the story of mountain gazelle-human interactions also includes remarkable success stories. Israeli conservation efforts, beginning in the 1960s, have helped stabilize and even increase gazelle populations through habitat protection, hunting restrictions, and active management programs. Nature reserves and national parks now protect critical gazelle habitats, while wildlife corridors and crossing structures help reduce road mortality. Agricultural practices in Israel have also evolved to be more gazelle-friendly, with some farmers actively managing their lands to provide habitat benefits. The recognition of gazelles as a national animal has created a sense of national pride and responsibility that supports conservation funding and public awareness programs. Educational programs in Israeli schools teach children about gazelle ecology and conservation, creating a new generation of wildlife advocates. Ecotourism centered around gazelle watching has also developed, providing economic incentives for habitat conservation and demonstrating that these animals have value beyond their symbolic importance. Sacred symbol, cultural and symbolic significance in Israel. The selection of the mountain gazelle as Israel's national animal represents far more than an arbitrary choice. It reflects deep cultural, historical, and spiritual connections that stretch back to millennia of Middle Eastern civilization. This designation acknowledges the gazelle's profound significance in Jewish culture, biblical tradition, and the modern Israeli identity. Throughout biblical literature, gazelles appear repeatedly as symbols of beauty, grace, and spiritual aspiration. The Song of Songs, one of the most poetic books in the Hebrew Bible, uses gazelle imagery to describe beloved figures, with phrases like, "My beloved is like a gazelle" or a young stag, capturing the animal's association with grace, beauty, and swift movement. These literary references helped establish the gazelle as a creature of particular significance in Jewish cultural consciousness. The Hebrew word for gazelle, tzvi, carries additional cultural weight, as it's also used as a personal name and appears in various traditional Jewish contexts. This linguistic connection reinforces the deep integration of gazelles into Hebrew culture and identity, making them not just wildlife species, but integral parts of the cultural landscape. In modern Israeli culture, the mountain gazelle has become a powerful symbol of the country's connection to its land and its commitment to environmental stewardship. The choice of an indigenous species as a national animal, rather than adopting a symbol from elsewhere, reflects Israel's desire to root its identity in the natural heritage of the region. The gazelle's remarkable adaptability and resilience in challenging environments resonates strongly with Israeli national narratives of survival and flourishing despite difficulties. Just as these animals have persisted through millennia of environmental and human pressures, Israel sees itself as a nation that has overcome historical challenges to establish a thriving society in a difficult region. Conservation of the mountain gazelle has become a point of national pride and a demonstration of Israel's environmental values. The success of gazelle conservation programs is often highlighted as evidence of the country's commitment to environmental protection and its ability to balance development with ecological responsibility. The gazelle appears on Israeli currency, stamps, and official emblems, making it a visible part of daily life for millions of citizens. This constant presence helps maintain public awareness of the species and reinforces its status as a national symbol worthy of protection and respect. Fighting for survival, conservation status, and challenges. The conservation story of the mountain gazelle illustrates both the devastating impact that human activities can have on wildlife and the remarkable recovery that's possible when dedicated conservation efforts are implemented. Understanding their current status requires examining both the challenges they face and the successes achieved through intensive management. Historically, mountain gazelle populations throughout the Middle East were abundant, with estimates suggesting tens of thousands of individuals across their range. However, by the mid-20th century, populations had collapsed throughout most of their territory due to hunting pressure, habitat destruction, and competition with domestic livestock. In Israel, the situation reached a critical point in the 1960s when surveys suggested that fewer than 1,000 mountain gazelles remained in the wild. This alarming discovery prompted immediate conservation action, including the establishment of nature reserves, implementation of strict hunting prohibitions, and initiation of habitat restoration programs. Today, thanks to these conservation efforts, Israel hosts the world's largest population of mountain gazelles, with current estimates suggesting between 3,000 and 5,000 individuals distributed across various protected areas and some agricultural regions. This represents one of the most successful large mammal conservation programs in the Middle East. However, significant challenges remain. Habitat fragmentation continues to be a major concern as roads, urban development, and agricultural intensification create barriers to gazelle movement and divide populations into smaller, potentially vulnerable groups. Climate change poses additional long-term threats, as changing precipitation patterns and increasing temperatures may alter vegetation communities and reduce habitat quality. Road mortality remains a persistent problem, with vehicle strikes accounting for a significant percentage of gazelle deaths each year. While wildlife crossings and fencing have been installed in some critical areas, the expanding road network continues to pose challenges for gazelle conservation. Disease outbreaks represent another concern, as concentrated populations in protected areas may be vulnerable to rapid spread of pathogens. Additionally, competition with domestic animals and occasional conflicts with agricultural activities create ongoing management challenges. Outside Israel, mountain gazelle populations remain critically endangered or locally extinct across much of their former range. Small populations persist in Lebanon, Syria, and parts of Turkey, but these are generally isolated and vulnerable to extinction. Regional political instability has made conservation efforts in some areas extremely difficult to implement or maintain. Amazing adaptations, unique and interesting facts. The mountain gazelle possesses numerous remarkable adaptations and behaviors that showcase the incredible ways wildlife can evolve to thrive in challenging environments. These fascinating characteristics make them one of the most interesting antelope species in the world. Their jumping ability is perhaps their most spectacular adaptation. Mountain gazelles can leap vertically up to 2 meters high and cover horizontal distances of up to 6 meters in a single bound. This extraordinary athletic ability, called pronking or stotting, serves multiple purposes beyond simple locomotion. These high, bounding leaps often occur when gazelles are being pursued by predators and may serve as displays of fitness that discourage predators from continuing their chase. Temperature regulation in mountain gazelles involves several sophisticated physiological adaptations. They can allow their body temperature to fluctuate more than most mammals, reducing the need for energy-expensive cooling during hot days. Their light-colored coat reflects heat, while their large ears serve as natural air conditioning systems, helping to dissipate excess body heat through increased blood circulation. Their water conservation abilities are truly remarkable. Mountain gazelles can survive without drinking water for weeks or even months, obtaining all necessary moisture from their food and through metabolic processes. Their kidneys are extremely efficient at concentrating urine, and they produce very dry feces to minimize water loss. Navigation and memory skills in mountain gazelles are extraordinary. Individual animals maintain detailed mental maps of their territories, remembering the locations of seasonal food sources, water points, escape routes, and safe resting areas across areas that may span several square kilometers. This spatial memory is crucial for survival in their complex, seasonal environment. Their speed and endurance combination is remarkable among medium-sized mammals. While they can reach sprint speeds of 60 kilometers per hour, they can also maintain moderate speeds of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour for extended periods, allowing them to outdistance most predators over longer chases. Communication through scent is highly developed in mountain gazelles. They have scent glands near their eyes, between their toes, and in other locations that produce chemical signals used for territorial marking, individual recognition, and reproductive communication. These chemical messages can persist in the environment for days or weeks, creating an invisible communication network across a landscape. Their social learning abilities are remarkable, with young gazelles learning not just from their mothers, but from observing the behavior of other herd members. This social learning includes recognition of different types of dangers, optimal feeding strategies, and navigation to their complex habitat. Conclusion: guardians of an ancient legacy. The mountain gazelle stands as far more than Israel's national animal. It represents a living connection to the ancient natural heritage of the Middle East and a symbol of hope for conservation in one of the world's most challenging regions. Their story encompasses themes of resilience, adaptation, cultural significance, and the complex relationships between human societies and wildlife. Through dedicated conservation efforts, the mountain gazelle has been pulled back from the brink of extinction in Israel, demonstrating that with commitment, scientific knowledge, and public support, even severely threatened species can recover. Their success story provides a model for conservation efforts throughout the region and beyond. As we look toward the future, the mountain gazelle faces new challenges from climate change, continued habitat fragmentation, and the ongoing pressures of human development. However, their remarkable adaptability, combined with growing conservation awareness and improving management techniques, provides reason for optimism. The preservation of mountain gazelles is ultimately about more than saving a single species. These graceful animals serve as umbrella species whose protection benefits entire ecosystems, as symbols that connect modern societies to their natural heritage, and as reminders of our responsibility to share the earth with the remarkable diversity of life that has evolved alongside us. In the rolling hills of Israel, where ancient olive trees cast shadows on sun-bleached limestone and the air shimmers with Mediterranean heat, mountain gazelles continue their eternal dance across the landscape. They bound over rocky outcrops with the same grace that inspired biblical poets, their liquid eyes scanning horizons that have witnessed the rise and fall of empires. They are present a testament to the enduring power of life to adapt, survive, and flourish. Their story is far from finished. Each new generation of gazelles represents hope for the future, and each successful conservation initiative demonstrates humanity's capacity to act as responsible stewards of the natural world. In protecting the mountain gazelle, Israel has not only saved its national animal, but has also preserved a living symbol of the enduring connection between people, land, and the wild creatures that make both more beautiful and complete. As these magnificent animals continue to grace the landscapes of their ancestors, they carry with them the hopes of a nation and the dreams of conservationists worldwide. The mountain gazelle survival story reminds us that with dedication, scientific understanding, and respect for the natural world, we can ensure that future generations will also have the privilege of witnessing these graceful creatures dancing across the ancient hills of the Middle East, forever embodying the spirit of resilience, beauty, and wild freedom that defines the very best of our shared natural heritage.